93. This is Amon Asharenew from asharenew.com. Now, in the media today, the basketball star Brittney Griner was just sentenced to 9 years. They were trying to give her 9.5 years, and she ended up getting 9. Now, of course, I'm going to look into the astrology. And because Russia is in the East, we understand that they use Eastern or Vedic alignments. So over here in the West, Jupiter is in Aries. However, in the East, Jupiter is in Pisces, and we understand Pisces represents isolation and Jupiter represents famous people. So I've been looking at a lot of news articles, and a lot of famous people are getting busted for bribery. Politicians are being suspended, or attorney generals are being suspended. But I'll get to those stories as we go along here. So if we look at this from the perspective of Jupiter being in Pisces, and Pisces represents jails, isolation. This is why we are seeing these things play out in this particular moment. As we know, she has been, going back and forth to court for quite some time now. So she just officially got sentenced. So there is no coincidence that she got sentenced when Jupiter is going through the degrees of karma, aka Pisces. Especially because the reason why she's in jail in the first place is because they said she was smuggling drugs, which is also a degree of Pisces. Pisces represents drugs. So the fact that she gets sentenced for drugs in this particular season, in this particular time, is no coincidence. And that's why I always want to bring the occult into the fold, because none of these things are happening haphazardly. There's always a script planned out. And because there's always a script planned out, as long as we continue to pay attention to what's going on above us, it will help us to define what is occurring right in front of us. So once again, she was jailed for trying to smuggle in haddish oil out of a vape. So it wasn't actual like weed or anything. It was haddish oil. She said it was accidentally put in her bag. She was rushing. She didn't mean to put it in the bag. It ended up being found in the bag when she was at the airport. And ever since then, they have been holding her. And this has become more and more political. Now we're speaking about exchanging prisoners, the prison swamps. And then I think Russia rejected or refused the initial prisoner swamps. And then they came with a counter. And I think we rejected or refused that counter. So expect this to last quite some time. Of course, we are all wishing her the best. But clearly, Russia is just not in the mood to have any feelings right now. And we know why. Even though Russia says this is not political, she just got caught with drugs, and we don't do that drug thing. So it's from the Russian side, that's basically what they're saying. Like we're not making this a political thing. However, here in the West, we have definitely made this a political thing. So whether or not you agree with her having to do the next 9 years in jail overseas, The fact of the matter is, when we are dealing with energies that are beyond our control, in the sense of when you are a famous person and you are operating on the world stage, you have to be even more civilized than the rest of us, because any little thing can be blown out of proportion. Like, I'm not sure a regular person would have got that much time, but maybe they would have. You know, Russia is very strict with these laws. So we see money couldn't have got her out of this situation, because as we see in the West, and we know this to be true in the West, you know, if you are able to afford the right lawyer, things tend to get swept under the rug, or your time is significantly reduced. So in this case, that was not able to work in her favor, because we are being initiated into the new world, where that's not going to happen as often as it is, because we know that this is due to corruption, which again is the energy of Pisces. So because Jupiter is cleansing itself of corruption, because Jupiter is in retrograde, this is essentially what's going on now. A lot of people have been able to navigate around the law because of their public status. And we're going to see more and more people not be able to utilize that to their advantage any longer, due to everything that is going on worldwide. So this is going beyond the Ukrainian conflict. This is a total shift of powers. And again, I'm going to be doing more articles so that we can have a full scope as to what's going on. But in terms of this particular situation, this is another example of these karmic forces coming back to us full-fledged. So even if we don't deal with anything on the world stage, we will be dealing with things on our own personal stages. So no one will escape this karmic force. But we all must do our due diligence to not end up in the hands of the enemy, especially when we are in a position of privilege. Exercise supreme caution, yet be fearless in all your endeavors. And with that, I bear peace. 93, 93, 93.